Welcome to the Hall of Fame, live from the ATA MCE conference. I'm here at Nirvana, and Bandar is our guest today. We're going to have an enlightened conversation, and he's going to fill us in a little bit about what his company does. I want to kick it off with you, buddy. Here you go.
Thanks, Ken. It's so good to see you. We're really excited to be here and to see all of our good friends here at ATA.
Okay. Tell me a little bit. Just for everyone, I did a lot of research. I hadn't heard of your company before. I went to your webpage. I was extremely impressed by your webpage. I got a lot of information from it. Realized that even my statewide logistics could actually use your product, which I thought was very interesting. Give us an overview of the products you offer, so that the general public would know when they go in and take a look at our podcast.
Sure. So we're a top-rated, A-rated insurance carrier. We're able to provide insurance solutions in 26 states, primarily in trucking, most of the major classes that you would kind of understand. Available in 26 states, and we have solutions for what we call non-fleet or small fleets, 1 to 9 power units, and then solutions for 9 up to 5, 6, 7, 800 power unit fleets that serve with us. And the main difference is what we have figured out is a way to use your data to make sure that you're paying for the right level of insurance and are being treated fairly. So there's been this huge boon in telematics data. Right, almost every fleet has these ELDs. And one of the things we realized was that people didn't know how to use this data. This data wasn't being used properly. And fleets came to their insurance broker year after year and said, I don't get it. I didn't have any claims. Sure, maybe the cost went up a little bit, but why is my insurance rate going up 10, 15, 20%? And it's because insurance carriers didn't have a way to treat the individual fleet like an individual.
Okay.
So we figured out a way to use the actual data that comes out of the fleets with your permission and discount you up to 20% upfront based upon your driving behavior. So you drive well, you get that discount. And it's not, you hope to get a discount in the future. You get the discount from day one.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this data, because right before I left a large trucking company, we were definitely using this data. You're looking at data like heartbreaking events. Okay, so look at how many heartbreaking events you get, following distance. So look at following distance. All those things you're just aggregating all that data and says, okay, this is how safe they drive overall. Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking at it at a much deeper level than we think anyone else in the industry is. So there's primarily 2 types of data that insurance carriers look at, right? There is the loss history, which everyone looks at. And then there is the CSA data or FMCSA data, your CSA score. We look at those things. Those are our traditional underwriting factors. And then on top of that, we add a much higher level of granularity to the telematics data than anyone in the industry has ever looked at. And by that, I mean, we're looking at it probably 10 or 50 times the fidelity of anyone else. So, of course, heartbreaking and following distance, but also which corridors have high levels of curves, which corridors have steep angles of ascent. You tell me that you're domiciled in a certain state. Where are you actually driving? How busy are those intersections? How often are you crossing an intersection with a high level of challenges? Because not every heartbreaking incident is the same, right? Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But we can glean so much more information and really start to build like a personal fingerprint for who you are as an organization to help you get better. And by the way, that's one of the biggest things is we built this technology for our underwriters, but we realized, hey, it shouldn't just be for us. So we give you a fully transparent view. Everything our underwriters see, you as an insured see. And when it comes for renewal, you hold us to account. Hey, my driving risk went down. Your price is not going to go up significantly because of that, right? Your price should go down if your risk goes down. And we want to be transparent and help coach you into those behaviors.
Okay, great. So I love that. I think the large company is able to dig into the data, but I see exactly where you're going. If I own a local trucking company in Wyoming, and I don't leave the state of Wyoming, and I had 2 accidents, and a guy in New York City has 2 accidents and run a truck company, his rate's going to be higher just because of density of traffic and things of that nature versus the guy in Wyoming. Right. Total sense. So feed them the data. Is this something they can access at any time, or is it a dump once a year? How do you feed them the data?
Yeah. So all of our insureds and actually all of our prospects get free access to the Nirvana Safety Intelligence platform. You're able to go right into the platform, down to a driver level, see what's going on with your fleet. And all that FMCSA data that no one knows how to use, we also make that super, super usable for you. So in fact, the morning after a violation, your fleet manager gets an email about the violation, where it happened, what happened. No more going to the .gov website, pulling the spreadsheets, hoping you can figure it out, and using all those tools. Another interesting thing that people really love about this safety platform is the ability to understand how violations stack and when they fall off. I think this is something that my safety manager tells me fleets really struggle with. FMCSA has a very intricate scoring system with violations, right? And those violations fall off and don't count at a certain point, but they triple count if they're in the last 6 months. So we've made it really easy to understand those violations, to map them out, to be able to sort and filter them and see the impact that they're having on your fleet and ultimately on your safety and your insurance scores.
So, does the access to this AI database free for anyone in insurance?
Totally.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. How's the downturn in trucking? Like we were talking before we came online, and we gave I can't remember the episode. We were talking just about the trucking closures. There've been 88,000 truck companies that's closed since 2023. About 9,000 brokerages. Has that affected your business at all?
I think it's done a few things. Obviously, it's a hard market right now in insurance. Insurance rates are going up. So I think we've been a little bit lucky. We have been insulated from the worst of the downturn because Nirvana doesn't write new ventures. So we require 2 years of driving behavior. So that has helped insulate us a little bit. But we also understand that the fleets are driving less miles. And because we're by the mile insurance, that does impact our total revenue, right? You're not going to see as many miles per fleet. We think that's actually a benefit because we have no minimums. So if your truck is parked, there is no risk and you shouldn't be paying for it. And that's a big difference from a scheduled account, right? Like so many fleet managers right now or owners are running trucks at a loss because they don't know what else to do, right? There's so many fixed costs that they say, well, I better keep it in motion. I'll keep someone employed. I'll keep it going, even if they're upside down every mile they're driving. So we've got to have flexible solutions in insurance to make sure that they're not backwards on these miles and help reduce the cost.
I think that point is huge. I think I know a lot of, especially in Chicago, smaller truck companies, 200 and under, and if a truck is empty without a driver, they're paying. And I think that's a big deal for our clients out there. If they say your truck is parked and it's not moving and they have access to your telematics so they know whether it's moving or not, I think that's a big benefit because I think that's a huge struggle with smaller trucking companies. So I think that's something that we should really think about. And I think it's a good push for you guys. I think it's a great idea. And I think it's fair because the truck is not moving while you're paying insurance on it. So, okay, you have some bigger customers. Let me ask you this one, and I don't know if it's something you offer. Do you tell companies, because once you get to like 500,000 trucks, do you tell companies to use captive insurance where, for people that don't know what a captive insurance is, let's just say you look at the amount of accidents you're having, you know what they cost that year, and you says I'm going to insure myself for the first 100,000 because I looked at all the accidents under 100,000 and me paying you would cost this and that cost is X. Do you do that kind of advice?
Captive at the upper end of the market tends to be a current trend. Actually, we're starting to see a lot more captive folks who are trying to figure out ways to get out of their captive. And it makes sense, right? When you model a captive program, you're not modeling 10% inflation. You're not modeling, hitting a Tesla and it being a total because you bumped a bumper, right? Like it's a big difference when the claims start to become supercharged. So we don't offer a captive solution. What we do offer is really flexible deductible rates to help them take some of the load off, right? If you're operating at that scale, you really should have a much higher deductible because that hit is not going to impact you as much, right? So bring your deductible level up and allow yourself a little bit of cost savings in the insurance. The captive market, I think, is going to go through a much more challenging next couple of years than maybe people had hoped for.
Yeah, I tell you, there are people that you can get in trouble with captive. I think the way people do captive is what's gotten them in trouble. I always tell people, if you're going to do a captive insurance, it should be insurance you do every year. So you captive this year. The following year, you use that year's data. Then you go out and buy full insurance, and then you do the comparison. And if it's doing 10%, don't mess with it. So it's something that if you have to relook every year, and this is not something, if you're under 500 trucks, I would go anywhere near. I just think it's for the bigger guys. So I just want to get your understanding on that. So with that, tell me anything you'd like to close with. I'd like to know anything else. I love the idea that if a truck is not moving, that you're not going to charge them for it. Secondly, I think it's so important that people are using the data for several reasons, okay? And I can tell you how we used to use the data. I can identify who's going to have your accidents from that telematic data. I can tell you that the data doesn't lie. These are my high-risk guys. These are my non-high-risk guys. And it gives you an opportunity to bring those people in, to train them, show them, hey, you've jammed on the brakes 5 times the past 3 weeks because what is your following distance? Let's look at your following distance. Let's look at your driving habits. Let's look at your lanes change data, how much you're changing. All those things are important. Let's look at, yes, I know the speed limit is 70 miles an hour on 55 in Chicago, but at 55 at 2 p.m., I know there's traffic. It's probably a little faster than that data. So all those data is important, and I think giving them a smaller company that can't afford to aggregate big data, an opportunity to aggregate it, I think that's great. So those are the 2 takeaways that I absolutely love from your program. So I'll let you close.
Yeah. I think for us, the reason why we're in this business is we saw that there was a lack of transparency and fairness in insurance as it works today. And with so much more data, it's incumbent upon us to give that data to you, to help you understand it. In fact, the thing I hear from fleets is, we have the data. We have a great partner in Samsara or Motive or one of the great sponsors here at ATA, right, with the big booths. They have the data. They just don't know how to use it. They don't log in. They don't want to get to it. And by the way, the insurance companies are guilty of the same thing. How many times have you heard about a bad claims experience, about having to chase down an adjuster, about an adjustment going on for 6 months or a year and not getting a resolution, right? We're at this really important point in time, where we can use technology to help these things, right? Like, if you can understand where your FedEx package is, on which truck, anywhere in the world, no matter what time it is, you should be able to understand what's going on with $1 million claim, right? So why aren't we providing those solutions? And we've done a lot recently to bring claims in-house, to make you have really a best-in-class portal to understand exactly what's going on. One of the things we're using with AI, which I think is spectacular, we're hearing good results. Every claim that you have, okay, we send you a weekly email. And then we use AI to summarize all the internal notes of what happened with that claim that week. So the adjuster went out to the site. The adjuster had a conversation with the insured. The adjuster had a conversation with the other party in the accident. We're able to summarize all that information and send the fleet manager an email summarizing every step of every claim that week. Huge boon, right? There's no way an adjuster is going to be able to do that themselves, right? Every claim, every week. But AI and machine learning can do that. So why not use these technologies to be more transparent, to help the insured figure out their lives a little bit? And that's really the point in time we're at right now. And I think we're trying to challenge the industry to think a little bit differently, to use it, to embrace these technologies. And instead of embracing them to become a bigger kind of behemoth insurance company, embrace them to bring the savings back to the fleets that are really struggling.
That's an interesting point. I missed that when I looked you up last night. I can tell you, I currently have a claim going through at Stateway, and I can tell you, I only get an update if I email or call the adjuster, and it is a nightmare. Okay, so the idea of any form of transparency, I think it's good, especially for the 20 truck guy, the 100 truck guy, that doesn't really know, okay, we got to call and find out what's going on with this claim. Where is it? How is it processing? The customer's calling them. Man, if you could send your customer an email every week, you could take your data out, put it into your own email, look like you looked it up, says, here you go, here's what's going on. All of that, I think that transparency is good for the industry. So, yeah, I mean, the product you have, I think is excellent. I think the way you aggregate data to get people a cheaper insurance, I think is great. I think just having a portal that they can access this data is great. And now just the way you do claims. So in closing, I'll let you close it up with whatever you want to tell us, sir.
Well, I'm just really thankful for having me on, and really a big fan of the show, and hopefully you continue to see great success. And for the people watching and listening, just check out nirvanatech.com. You can sign up for free, get an analysis, understand all that data yourselves, and hope to see you at a show here like ATA or in the future online.
You'll definitely see us. We're definitely coming to these conferences and filming our pod. And definitely when we launch the episode and we get it out, we'll make sure that their webpage is available, because this is definitely someone that we are recommending. So that the link will be there, and we'll give you a copy of it. So thank you for joining the Hall of Fame today with Nirvana. Have a great day.